In this video, we're gonna break down the 4, and I mean the only 4 ways to acquire customers for your asphalt paving business, hell, any business. We're gonna talk about all of them. We're gonna talk about examples and how every single thing falls under these 4. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons, what's the best, etc. So first, let's just get these 4 out of the way. Okay, number 1 is gonna be warm outreach. Number 2 is gonna be cold outreach. Number 3 is content. And number 4 is paid advertising. Okay, so let's just do a fun little exercise here, okay? Go ahead and think of any way that a business and your business could acquire a customer. Let's just list a few here, okay? Cold calling, okay, that's gonna be obviously cold outreach. The referrals that you get, that's gonna be warm outreach, of course. Your Google My Business posts and reviews is gonna fall under content. Same with your organic social media posts, that's all content. Door knocking, flyers, door hangers, that's cold outreach. Let's say that you appeared on the news or spoke at some big local event. That's content. If you ran a direct mail campaign, that's paid advertising. Google ads, Facebook ads, that's of course paid advertising, okay? I challenge you to think of one way to acquire customers that does not fall under the 4: warm outreach, cold outreach, content, and paid advertising. So what are the pros and cons of each of these? And which one should you be spending most of your time on to scale your asphalt paving business beyond 5 mil at a predictable and consistent rate? All right, so let's start with number 1, which is warm outreach. Okay, if your asphalt paving business is between $1 and $3 million a year, you're probably aware that all the jobs from last year, the jobs that you have on your calendar for this year, all came from some sort of warm, referral or warm network, right? Whether it was a past customer letting their neighbor know who did the job, family or friend, whatever, you're pretty much surviving off of referrals. And that's okay, because what got you here in business to this day is long, hard work that you've persevered through for years. So you've built this network, you've built this trust in your community. People know, like, and trust you. And when you do a good job, they're happy to refer you. No problem with this. It's just not going to help you scale to 5, 10 million, just asking past customers, for referrals, because of course that trickles down. You need something that trickles up. So what are the pros with warm outreach? Okay. So the first pro is that it's free. If you just do good, honest, hard work and you keep serving your community and you stay in business, you will likely always get referrals, because people love to tell people what they did that worked. And when a neighbor walks by and sees, their neighbor or friend with a new driveway, they might ask who it is and maybe they're interested. So the great thing about this is that it's free. Another great thing is that it's going to, basically consistently always be there. Like I said, if you're doing the good jobs and you're around, you're always going to have it. So it's always going to represent a small portion, of your business every year when you're looking at, your revenue. Real quick, if you run a local service business that does at least $1 million a year and you want to offload your marketing so you can grow your business, we can help. From website management to Google ad campaigns to Facebook ads to Google My Business profile optimizing, or even if you don't even know what you need, we can help with that too. We've managed over $20 million in ad spend and worked with over 150 business owners just like yourself. Click the first link in the description, go to our contact page, fill out the quick form, and someone from Eberhard Media will personally call you on the phone to verify your details and book a time on the calendar so we can talk and learn about how we can help. Now, what are the cons, or what are the negatives for warm outreach, right? So as you know, it can dry up quickly. It's pretty unpredictable, and it's just not going to help you scale, right? Because it's not something that goes forward and gets new, but it's just something that happens on the back end from existing and past customers, right? So again, kind of like that trickle down, but we need something that trickles up and out. So as you know, this is always going to represent, a small or even a good, healthy portion of your annual revenue, but this isn't going to be the thing that's going to take you from 5 to 10 million. Now let's talk about cold outreach. Cold outreach can work really well, but it also requires a lot of time and grit. Not a lot of estimators are going to want to do this. You're likely going to need a group of young, hungry sales guys, who want to make their first 6 figures out of college, because cold calling, door knocking, etc., it brings inconsistent results. You have to go through a lot of rejection, and you really have to find that special person that's going to want to persevere through that for, more than a month or more than a whole season, right? But like all 4 of these methods, this is a method that works. There's a reason why every once in a while someone will knock on my door, or there's a reason why maybe you see flyers on your door, when you come home from work every once in a while. It's because cold outreach at high volume does work. Simple as that. You cannot say this doesn't work. It does work. And it works only if, again, you have that serious volume there. So if you or someone on your team rings enough doorbells or calls enough businesses, or leaves enough business cards at someone's doormat, you will build a pipeline. So, what are the pros of cold outreach then? Because I know it sounds like I just talked negatively about it, but the pros are that you can target the exact jobs that you want. If you see someone's driveway when you go to their house and you're about to ring on their doorbell and you're like, this isn't really a job we want, you don't have to knock on their door. Or if you're calling and you're, looking at Google Maps, or you just know the business that you're calling, you're looking at their business profile and you see, their current, parking lot or whatever. If it's not what you want, you don't have to call them. So you can handpick who you want to reach out to, which is great. Another positive thing is that it's also pretty cheap, right? Knocking on doors, you can typically pay commission. Picking up the phone and dialing is really not that expensive. And it's something that can be repeated over time. And you can put tons of volume into this, which is amazing. And the last pro that I'm going to say about cold outreach is that it is one of the fastest ways to at least put estimates or jobs or get people of interest in your pipeline, especially if you're starting out. If you're starting out, the worst thing that you can be doing is spending your time, messing with your website, messing with these automations. Oh, should we change the logo? Whatever. The only thing that's going to get you closer to booking more jobs and more estimates on your calendar is going to be having conversations. Let's just use residential asphalt paving service as an example. The only thing that's going to help you move that needle forward is having conversations with homeowners with asphalt driveways. Super simple. I don't care if you are messing with your business profile or again tweaking your logo. Those things are not going to get you closer, but what is going to get you closer to landing, your first however many jobs or building your pipeline is going to be having those conversations. So if you force yourself or someone that you're working with, to ring doorbells and to pick up the phone, you are going to be putting in the action that is required to get jobs. You're going to be having those conversations, which is, one of my favorite parts about is that you can see it work instantly because you're forcing yourself into the market. Now, what are the negatives with cold outreach? It's very time heavy. Calling hundreds of people a day or knocking on, 50, 100 doors a day can take a whole day. It takes a lot of time. You also get really inconsistent results. Maybe one day or 1 week, you might get 3 to 5 potential opportunities, and 1 week you might get 0. Another thing, like I said, is that it also takes a special person to persevere through this. Cold outreach is not sparing. It's very brutal. There's a lot of people who hang up on you, maybe tell you to go F yourself, people who tell you, hey, don't ever come to my house again, etc. So to get someone that's going to be able to help you with this, or maybe if it's you, right, to have that personality, but if it's someone that's going to be helping you, you're quickly going to turn into just, a sales company or managing a sales team. If you can't find and train guys that are going to persevere, that are going to, make money to start seeing it be worth it, et cetera, you're going to have a really high churn, of people who want to help you with this. So again, it can be really hard to find, those people that are going to stick with you for a long time. Another thing is that it's not really going to scale to a big level unless you really go all in. So like I said, if you're like, hey, you know what? I have a heart of sales. I grew up doing sales. I want us to be a sales machine, then building that outbound team can be super helpful. But again, it's only going to really scale for you if you go all in. Lastly, trying to get commercial jobs from cold outreach is likely going to get you nowhere. If you have warm contacts that you can tap into, that is super helpful. But if you're just going to be cold calling businesses, trying to pitch them on a massive service that they don't necessarily need, you're just going to be getting gatekeepers. It's going to be really hard to talk to anyone. You're going to have to follow up a million times. You're probably just going to get ghosted. Or of course, if there is a reason, you can see someone with a very clear, obvious reason why they need that new parking lot, or if they have hazards or huge potholes, that might give you some more advantage, but still, it's just going to be really hard to get past gatekeepers in general. All right, so moving on to number 3, which is going to be content. So before we dive into the pros and cons, what even is content? Okay, so content's going to be uploading those new pictures to your Google My Business profile, those Facebook, Instagram posts, maybe like a local SEO blog. And, I don't know if this would be helpful, but if you were able to, get yourself on like some local homeowner podcast, right? I know that's not really a real thing, but if you did, that would be content. If you were able to get interviewed on the news, that would be content, etc. Right? So the pros of this kind of stuff, right, is it lasts forever. Like this video that you're watching, unless I delete it, will be on YouTube forever. So if this doesn't, turn you into a lead for my business, it could turn someone else into a lead, 10 years down the road. Who knows? Secondly, the type of content you want to do for a business can honestly be pretty easy. Like I said, it could be taken before and afters. It could be, like quick camera to face, videos talking about, hey, here's a job we just did and so and so. It overall can be a pretty easy task that you can execute. Content also builds trust before people call you. it's going to make all your paid ads work so much better because, the amount of proof that you're going to generate on your page, if someone can scroll and be like, holy crap, these guys have done hundreds and hundreds of good jobs, this is going to help your local presence. And it's just overall a compounding asset because you just build that, irresistible, you just the amount of proof that someone can't take away from you, right? If you've got 1,000 5-star Google My Business profile reviews, which I know is a ton, and you've got 1,000 before and after photos, you are going to be able to beat so many other local guys because no one has that. That is an irrefutable amount of trust, amount of social proof, and it just shows that your company's just going to look organized, busy, professional. It's all around an amazing thing you can do for your business is just have good looking content. Content is hands down something that every business owner should be doing. Whether it's you or you have it delegated, having good content all around needs to be done. Now, what are the cons? It's slow. Posting organically on Facebook, you could post 100 times before getting more than a few impressions. Okay. It's brutal. It is a long game. And that's why it can be really hard to scale. But it's important that you make sure that you are making these posts, uploading these pictures, taking the pictures of the driveways because you want to stack this proof. This is again is that compounding asset. But at the start, it can be really slow. It's going to seem like, your efforts are just going to waste and you're not getting noticed, but it's just unfortunately, part of the game. It takes consistency. Again, I know I just kind of repeating this a little bit, but it's something that you have to consistently do. It's not just like, hey, you could do just like a full day of content, but when you go to jobs, you need that content. Then you need those reviews then. So it's something that, you can't just like do a bunch at once and get it over with, but it's something that you just gonna have to put into your schedule, into your routine, and just into your business consistently. Lastly, it is kind of hard to attribute the success, right? If someone calls your business, unless you're asking, where they saw you from, that is really the only way to really attribute the success. So overall, it's kind of hard to actually measure the true ROI of content because there's no, metrics like Facebook and Google ads where it shows cost per lead, etc. This is just makes your phone ring more. Now, lastly, of course, let's go ahead and talk about paid advertising. I am certain that right now it is not your first time hearing about Google or Facebook ads. I am certain. And there's a reason for it. So, what are the pros? The pros are that, from Google, you can get those high intent leads because people are quite literally searching residential asphalt paving company near me, and your company shows up. That is really hard to beat anywhere else, okay? Google Ads serves the 3% of your market of the people who are ready to take action, are problem aware, and are searching for the solution. They say that in any market, there's about 3% of people that fall under that category. Google is the greatest way to target and get those people into your business. Paid ads can also get you a really fast ROI, right? If you start spending money on ads, you are putting it in front of people, people are seeing it. You can typically get a pretty fast ROI, which you can then use to also, keep funneling the machine. So when the ads are on, people are seeing them, you capture that demand instantly and you can get ROI pretty quickly. And then unlike the other three that I gave you, which was warm outreach, cold outreach content, those are a lot harder to delegate and have someone else manage, especially right off the bat. A lot of those can be kind of taxing on the owner. It is overall going to take the owner like yourself, a lot more time to do. But paid ads is a pretty, well-known system by lots of people. You can hire an in-house team or hire an agency. And for the most part, it can be pretty much completely done for you. So you don't have to put your time and energy into it, but it's something that can be, handed off and delegated pretty seamlessly. Another thing is that you can also dominate locally by controlling the frequency of, how many people are seeing your Facebook ads, let's say, right? Like, what's a better way to grow and scale your business than just paying to show local people who you are, what you guys do, and show them your work? Now, of course, what are the negatives? So the cons of paid advertising is that it can be expensive. You have to pay to play the game. This is not, a nickel and dime game. When you're advertising, it costs money. Simple as that. So it's not always an option for the new businesses or the people just starting out. It's not always the first thing for them to do that's going to give them the best ROI. Because also when you're new, you have the odds against you because now when you're advertising towards people who have no idea who you are. You might not have a great website. You probably don't have tons of content. You look new. You don't have lots of reviews, etc. So not only is it expensive, especially starting out, and you might not have all that much money for it, but also you're going against the current because you haven't been in town for 25 years. People haven't seen your trucks. You don't have 100 reviews. No one's heard your name before. So that's also why paid ads can work better for companies that have been in business longer. But again, for you newer guys, like under $1.5 million a year, this is one of those things that definitely goes against you. So now that we've covered all the pros and cons for the only 4 ways to acquire customers for any business and your asphalt paving business specifically, what should you do? What is the best strategy to grow your business based on time, money, and your personal situation? So let's break it down here. I'm going to bring this into 2 categories here, and that's going to be asphalt paving businesses under 2.5 mil a year and asphalt paving businesses over 2.5 mil a year. So my recommendation for the paving businesses that are under $2.5 million a year is going to be tapping into those referral networks. Obviously, this just comes as they come, but really try and leverage it, okay? Incentivize customers to tell their neighbors. Make sure that you're getting those reviews from every single job you do and start laying these bricks, brick by brick, building you irrefutable amount of trust and proof as you start to grow. This is all going to help. I promise these seeds that you plant of getting these reviews early and taking these before and afters, they are going to ripen and you are going to be reaping what they sow. I am certain. Another thing you can do is also start with a small marketing budget, like 2 grand a month or less. This is going to just help overall, just get your name out there, show yourself to people, bring out feelers, make yourself easier to find and, put yourself on the map. But this is not something that you have to go crazy with, but just at least be there. And then also, again, start building that irrefutable trust by getting before and afters of every single job you do, consistently putting them on your Google My Business page, and then consistently putting them on Facebook, Instagram to, again, overall, once people start to know who you are, you start to crack 2.5 mil, 3 mil a year, you have, hundreds of Google My Business reviews, posts, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and it is hard to compete with you because not a lot of other paving companies are doing all of these elements. A little bonus is that this is also going to help not only just your business by stacking all this proof, but it's going to help all of your paid advertising in the future because now you're the guy spending up, a bunch of money advertising, but you also have the most reviews, the most proof, the best website, the best content, etc. It is going to help you dominate locally, hands down. Most paving companies have Facebook, Instagram pages that they just started so they could run ads. All they have is a logo, maybe 1 or 2 pictures. So if you can stand out and be the local asphalt paving company, like for the people or for your local people and make entertaining content or have something good on there that people actually want to see, this is going to separate you, allow you to charge a premium and actually be, that premium service because again, this is skipped by most asphalt paving companies. So doing these things is going to just absolutely help you stand out. Now, lastly, for my bigger guys doing 2.5 million a year or more, this is the ultimate local lead domination strategy for your asphalt paving company to go from 5 to 7 to 10 mil a year consistently year over year. Are you ready? If you close your eyes and think about it, you can probably guess what I'm going to tell you because it is very clear based on everything that I've said and based on everything that you've learned today. And that is going to be paid advertising and content. Shocker. Paid advertising basically scales infinitely and can be almost completely hands off depending if you have an in-house team or you pay an agency who already knows how to do this stuff. All you have to do is pony up and pay to play. We've already talked about the only 4 ways to truly get customers for any business. And if you think about it and you break it down at a scalability level and predictability level and a long-term asset building level, it really only comes down to cold outreach and paid advertising. That's going to get you to that 10 mil plus over time. So it really just, you just have to ask yourself, what kind of company do you run? If you go the cold outreach direction and you have a heart for sales, you love the hustle, then please, by all means, go ahead and build that killer absolute unit of a sales team. There are tons of roofers, tons of solar guys, tons of pest control companies that are doing it because obviously this works. There's no question that cold outreach doesn't work, but that is what your business will turn into, is you will be leading a sales company. The fulfillment of actually paving customers' driveways is going to be probably the smallest part of your business because you're going to have a crew and a foreman that handles that. That's not going to be a problem. But now most of your time is going to be primarily focused on leading a sales company. And that's going to be refining scripts, hiring guys, firing guys, scrounging to keep the pipeline full, motivating the team, maybe even going to local colleges or job fairs to try and get more, young, hungry guys who want to make some money. That's what your business is going to become, right? And the difference is with paid ads is that you are building a system of data that you can literally use forever. If you have the right agency or the right in-house team managing your paid advertisements, Every single dollar spent should be information learned on what's working, what's not, so you can be continuously cracking that paid ads code for getting affordable leads that have a high ROI. Plus, what's a better way, again, to grow your business than showing everybody around you in your local area who you are, what you do, and why you're the best. My name is John Eberhard, and I hope I was able to teach you something in this video. If you learned something, let me know down below. And if you are a local home service company doing at least $1 million a year and you want help with a full funnel, full stack marketing company to take over so you can focus on what you do best and we can focus on what we do best, and that's going to be growing your company predictably year over year, then go to the first link in the description, fill out the form on our website, and we will call you and book a call with you. See you guys soon.